Maria was 7 months pregnant and homeless. Her husband was dead, her house was gone. So she did the impossible, she built a cabin with her bare hands. The rich cowboy who found her hammering on the roof couldn't believe his eyes. Some women are born fighters. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching, also like and subscribe for more stories. The sound of hammering echoed across the empty valley as Maria swung the heavy tool with both hands. Her 7-month pregnant belly made every movement difficult, but she didn't stop. The winter was coming fast and her baby would need a warm place to be born. This is crazy, she whispered to herself, wiping sweat from her forehead. But I have no choice. 3 months ago, Maria's husband had died in a car accident, leaving her alone and pregnant with no money and no family. The bank had taken their house. She had nowhere to go except this small piece of land her grandmother had left her in the middle of nowhere. The land was beautiful but wild. There was no electricity, no running water, and no neighbors for miles. But it was hers and it was free. So Maria had made a plan that everyone said was impossible. She would build a cabin with her own hands before the baby came. Every morning, Maria woke up in her old truck and ate a simple breakfast of bread and water. Then she worked on the cabin until sunset. She had never built anything before, but she learned by watching videos on her phone when she could get signal in town. The work was backbreaking. She had to cut down trees, drag heavy logs, and lift pieces of wood that seemed too heavy for anyone, especially a pregnant woman. But Maria was stronger than she looked. Growing up on a farm had taught her that hard work was the only way to survive. "Come on, baby," she said to her unborn child as she struggled to lift another log. "We're going to build ourselves a home." After 6 weeks of work, the cabin was starting to take shape. The walls were up and Maria was working on the roof. She had blisters on her hands, her back ached constantly, and she was exhausted all the time. But she could see the finish line. That's when she met him. Cole Brennan was the richest man in the county. He owned thousands of acres of ranch land and hundreds of cattle. He was driving his truck through the valley when he saw something that made him stop and stare. A pregnant woman was on the roof of a half-built cabin, nailing boards in place with steady, strong swings of her hammer. She moved carefully but confidently, like someone who had been building cabins her whole life. Cole parked his truck and watched in amazement. He had never seen anything like it. Most people hired crews to build their houses. This woman was doing it all alone and she was pregnant. "Ma'am," he called out. "Are you okay up there?" Maria looked down and saw a tall man in expensive cowboy boots and a clean hat. He looked like he had never worked a hard day in his life. "I'm fine," she called back. "Just working." "You shouldn't be on a roof in your condition," Cole said. "That's dangerous." Maria climbed down the ladder slowly. Up close, Cole could see how young she was, maybe 25, and how tired. But her eyes were fierce and determined. "I appreciate your concern, but I know what I'm doing," Maria said politely but firmly. "Are you building this cabin by yourself?" Cole asked, still not believing what he was seeing. "Yes." "That's impossible. You're pregnant." Maria's eyes flashed with anger. "Being pregnant doesn't make me helpless. I'm building a home for my baby." "Where's your husband?" "Dead," Maria said simply. Cole felt like he had been punched in the stomach. "I'm sorry. I didn't know." "It's okay. You couldn't have known." Maria picked up her hammer again. "I need to get back to work. Daylight is burning." "Wait," Cole said quickly. "I'm Cole Brennan. I own the ranch over that hill. You're my neighbor." "Maria Santos," she replied. "Nice to meet you." Cole looked at the cabin. It was rough but well built. The walls were straight, the joints were tight, and the foundation was solid. "You really built all this yourself?" "Every board, every nail," Maria said with pride. "That's incredible. Most grown men couldn't do what you've done." "Most grown men have never had to," Maria replied. Cole couldn't stop staring at this amazing woman. "How did you learn to build?" "YouTube videos and necessity. When you have no choice, you learn fast." "Do you have help? Tools? Supplies?" Maria hesitated. She was running out of money for materials, but she was too proud to ask for help. "I'm managing." Cole could see the truth in her eyes. "What do you need?" "Nothing," Maria lied. "That roof needs shingles. Winter's coming in 3 weeks. Without proper roofing, you and the baby will freeze." Maria looked up at her unfinished roof. He was right, but shingles cost money she didn't have. "I'll figure something out. I have extra shingles at my ranch. And tools. And anything else you need." "I can't pay you," Maria said honestly. "I'm not asking for payment." Maria studied his face. "Why would you help me?" Cole thought about it. "Because I've never seen anyone work as hard as you. Because you're doing something amazing. Because it's the right thing to do. I don't take charity, Maria said firmly. It's not charity. It's neighbors helping neighbors. Maria was quiet for a long moment. Her baby kicked inside her belly, reminding her that this wasn't just about her pride anymore. Okay, she said finally. But I pay you back somehow. Deal? Cole smiled. The next morning, Cole returned with a truck full of supplies, shingles, nails, insulation, windows, and tools Maria had only dreamed of using. He also brought his foreman, an older man named Pete who had been building houses for 40 years. Pete's going to help you finish the roof, Cole explained. You shouldn't be climbing ladders anymore. I can climb ladders just fine, Maria protested. Pete looked at this stubborn pregnant woman and grinned. Ma'am, I've got 5 daughters. I know better than to argue with a woman who's made up her mind. But how about this, you tell me what to do and I'll do the climbing. Maria liked that idea. For the next week, she directed Pete while he worked on the roof. Cole came by every day to check on their progress and bring more supplies. Maria was suspicious at first. Rich people didn't usually help poor people without wanting something in return. But Cole never asked for anything. He just showed up, helped, and left. Why are you really doing this? Maria asked him one afternoon as they watched Pete install the last of the shingles. You want the honest truth? Cole said. Yes. Because you remind me of my mother. Your mother? Cole sat down on a pile of lumber. My dad died when I was 10. Mom was left with 3 kids and a failing ranch. Everyone told her to sell and move to town. But she refused. She worked 18 hours a day to save that ranch. Did she succeed? She died trying. Heart attack when I was 16. But she taught me that some people are born fighters. You're a fighter, Maria? Maria felt tears in her eyes. I don't feel like a fighter. I feel scared all the time. Being scared doesn't mean you're not brave. It means you're human. 2 days later, the roof was finished. The cabin was almost complete. Maria had built herself a real home with 3 rooms, a fireplace, and windows that looked out over the beautiful valley. But that night, she went into labor. Maria was alone in her truck when the pain started. She tried to drive to the hospital in town, but the contractions were too strong. She pulled over and called the only number she had, Cole's. Cole, she gasped into the phone. The baby's coming. Where are you? Cole asked, already running to his truck. On the road to town. About 5 miles from the cabin. Stay there. I'm coming. Cole found her 20 minutes later. Maria was in the back of her truck, trying to breathe through the pain. We need to get you to the hospital, Cole said. No time, Maria panted. Baby's coming now. Cole had helped deliver calves on his ranch, but never a human baby. Okay, we can do this. You're the strongest person I know. I can't do this, Maria cried. Yes, you can. You built a cabin with your bare hands. You can do anything. Maria looked into Cole's steady eyes and found the strength she needed. 2 hours later, as the sun rose over the valley, she gave birth to a healthy baby girl. She's beautiful, Cole whispered, wrapping the baby in his jacket. Maria held her daughter for the first time and started crying. I did it. I actually did it. You sure did, Cole said softly. They named the baby Hope, because she represented everything Maria had been working toward. Cole drove them back to the cabin, where Maria's new home was waiting. It was small and simple, but it was warm and safe in hers. Over the next few weeks, Cole visited every day. He brought food, baby supplies, and anything else Maria and Hope needed. But mostly he just came to help. I can take care of my baby myself, Maria insisted when Cole offered to change Hope's diaper. I know you can, Cole said. But you don't have to do everything alone anymore. Slowly, Maria began to trust this kind cowboy who had appeared in her life like a guardian angel. He never made her feel weak or helpless. He never tried to take over or tell her what to do. He just helped when she needed it and stepped back when she didn't. 3 months after Hope was born, Cole asked Maria to marry him. I can't marry you, Maria said, even though she had fallen in love with him. Why not? Because I don't want you to feel like you have to take care of us. I built this cabin to prove I can take care of myself and my baby. Cole took her hands. Maria, I'm not asking you to marry me because you need help. I'm asking because I need you. You've shown me what real strength looks like. You've made me a better man. But you're rich and I'm poor. Money doesn't matter. What matters is that I love you and Hope more than anything in the world. Maria looked around the cabin she had built with her own hands. It represented everything she was: strong, determined, independent. But she realized that being strong didn't mean being alone. Okay, she said finally. But we live here in the cabin I built. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else, Cole smiled. They were married 6 months later in a simple ceremony in front of the cabin. Hope, now a healthy, happy baby, slept in Maria's arms during the vows. Years later, when Hope was old enough to understand, Maria would tell her the story of how she built their home with her bare hands while Hope was still in her belly. "Were you scared, Mama?" Hope would ask. "Terrified," Maria would answer honestly. "But I was more scared of giving up than I was of failing." "And that's when you met Daddy?" "That's when Daddy saw me for who I really was, not a poor pregnant woman, but a fighter who would do anything for her family." Cole would add, "Your mama taught me that the strongest people aren't the ones who never fall down. They're the ones who get back up and keep building no matter how hard it gets." The cabin still stood in the valley, expanded over the years but still centered around the original 3 rooms Maria had built. It was a testament to what one determined woman could accomplish when she refused to give up. And every time Maria looked at those walls, she remembered that sometimes the hardest thing you'll ever do leads to the most beautiful life you could imagine. She had built more than a cabin with her bare hands. She had built a foundation for love, family, and hope that would last forever. Hope grew up hearing this story, and it taught her that being a woman didn't mean being weak. It meant being strong enough to build your own life, brick by brick, board by board, with your own 2 hands and an unbreakable spirit. The cabin in the valley became famous in the county. People would drive by just to see the house that the pregnant woman built. But for Maria, Cole, and Hope, it wasn't famous, it was home. It was the place where love began with an act of courage and grew into a lifetime of happiness. And sometimes, on quiet evenings, Maria would sit on the porch Cole had added and remember that day when she was 7 months pregnant and determined to build a home for her baby. She had no idea then that she was also building a home for the love of her life and creating a legacy of strength that would inspire her daughter forever.